Thank you so much. Hey, everyone. This is a subcommittee meeting of the Public Art Committee of the Needham Council for Arts and Culture. So I'm going to do a remote script today. It is Thursday, February 3rd, 7 p.m. And I'm going to confirm that all of the members of this subcommittee are here. I'm Charlie Nanda. I'm the co-chair of the Needham Council for Arts and Culture. And let's see, do we have Sharon Breitbart?
Yes.
Hi, Sharon. Okay, do we have, Gail Lustig has dropped out of the committee today. She was too busy to join us. We also have Betsy is not going to be here today. She's absent. And then Bala, you're here.
Here.
Hi, Bala. And then we have Corrine Rhodes.
Here.
Hi, Corrine. And Heather Simmons is
Here.
eating dinner. Hi, Heather. And we have Joni Shockett.
Here.
Hi, Joni. And then we have our newest member. Drum roll, please. Dennis Zhang. Hi, Dennis. Are you here?
Welcome.
Yay. I see him.
Hello, how are you?
Hi. So
Hi, Dennis.
I'm gonna read a little introduction. And then Dennis, we're gonna have to have you say hi to everyone. Tell us who you are. But I'm gonna read this really boring thing first because we have to do very important business. It says, this open meeting of the Needham Council for Arts and Culture is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, almost 2 years ago, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's orders suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For the meeting, NCAC is convening by the app and it's posted on the town's website via Zoom. So it identifies how the public may join. I don't think we have any public members here at the moment. It's just the people that you see on screen. But so for ground rules, if you want to raise your hand, you can use the little icon. Our subcommittee meetings are generally a little bit more relaxed than our other meetings. So if you want to say something, just raise your hand, or you can say hi and say your name so that we can keep some minutes of the meeting, and it's easier for the secretary to record that. So the other things are, make sure you keep yourself, your audio quiet. If there's any loud noises, you don't have to remain muted, but if there's loud noises, please mute yourself in the background. And then anything that you have showing on your screen is going to be showing and recorded and posted on YouTube. So just be aware of that. So we don't have any votes tonight, so I don't think we have to talk about that. But okay, that's it. Hi everyone, it's so good to see you all. We've been meaning to do this subcommittee for a while, and we had our last meeting on January 18th. And I know Dennis and Bala, you weren't there, but we had some really we did a lot for the talking about the murals, and I feel like we accomplished a bunch. So we'll go over that too. But first, I want to say, Dennis, welcome to your first Needham Council for Arts and Culture meeting. We're so happy to have you. Corrine just joined us as well. She had been sitting in for a long time, so we all feel like your old hat, but you're official too. So Dennis, do you want to tell people something about yourself? Share, you can have a minute to say hi if you want, or you're obviously a Bruins fan, that I know we know, but maybe something about what you're interested in is art. And people do know that your daughter, I told them at one of our last meetings that Iris is an artist, and she applied for a grant. So everyone was so impressed with that work. So you're a good parent. We know that about you.
Thank you. My name is Dennis. I live in Needham for about since 2015, so almost 7 years. I have 2 kids. One goes to High Rock, one is in Elliott. So one girl and one boy. So Iris is my daughter, like she's in the High Rock right now. And she's passion has been focused on a lot on the digital arts and also crafts. So one of the project she applied with the grant is to make some pop socket with the flora. Same as a helps to people to cheer up in the during the winter. So I think that's a pretty cool. And actually, it turns out to be a very good holiday gift. We have sending out a lot of gifts to the her teachers, her friends, and some of our families, which are pretty good. Turns out they like it a lot. So and happy to be here. And in the meantime, I work with the Chinese Friends of Needham, which is a Chinese community based in Needham, focus on Chinese culture promotion in general. And also we focus on the youth education too, for some of the recent related incidents about Asian hate, etc. We work closely with that, and we encourage the community to form more participation in the town management. And I think definitely the Arts Council create a good bonding between the community and the town and other communities too. So I think that's going to give I think it will be more power, will be stronger, especially when we understand each other better. So that's basically my motivation for joining this council, and hopefully to look forward to working with you down the road.
Yeah, and so it's so great to have you here. Did you find out about the NCAC because we reached out to you and said hi to you, or had you heard about us before being reached out to, I think by Bala and maybe?
Oh yeah. So I think Balan is introduced to connect with me through some of the connections, so maybe with the EJN, with NDI, some of the So also I think last year one of the community members, I think she's a high school kid. She also get grants from the Art Council, did arts related to Asian history and culture, and which is very impressive. We don't know about this until the news release about the grants, etc. And there's actually a picture in the newspaper. So I think that's a great. Appreciate that, the support to.
Do you remember who that was, Dennis?
I think that's probably around 1 year ago, around February this time. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's cool. Because I actually looked back, and in 2012 we gave a grant to the Chinese Friends of Needham for the Lunar New Year, which there must have been a festival or something at that time.
Oh yeah. We still have this tradition of a New Year celebration every year. Because of COVID, we used to has this a big potluck dinner at Newman, and then followed with a performance by the kids, basically like a talent show. Because of the COVID, we can't do that in the offline. So actually move that to online, like a talent show. I can send you through the emails with the link of this year's celebration, which is awesome. We even did online kind of Olympics, and people do plank, do hula hoop, and do wall sit, and to compete who's the longest, and for that, as the kids and the parents are awesome. Some of them can do plank up to 5 minutes, which is
That's awesome. Well, Happy New Year, and we're glad to have you. So
thank you very much. It's a happy Chinese New Year of the Tiger.
Yay, it's the year of the tiger. So let me do a quick catch you up to what we went over in the meeting on the 18th. So, and we have some exciting news to share. So on the 18th, we decided that we want to do this mural. We want it to do an invitational where we invite artists, maybe 12 or more, not a huge amount of groups, to artists to apply or to submit a design for a mural. The mural would have a selection committee that includes community artists and young people, that it would be somewhere in the range of $10,000 to $17,000 of our budget would be the cost of it. and that it would be focused on diversity and inclusion. We didn't necessarily come up with a theme, but that was sort of the idea. It would be a professional artist. And our favorite location is the Trader Joe's location. And I think Amy has something to share for news along that way. We've been trying for a while to try to get this location without any luck, but dun, da, 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 Amy got in touch with them today.
Yes, so I have left several messages and I thought I'm just gonna give it one more shot because I knew we were meeting tonight, and I left a message and sent something up to the Cosmos and said, please let him call me back. And within an hour, I got a phone call back and he apologized.
It was the Lunar New Year. It was good luck.
It must have been. He got back to me and said, apologized for the delay. And I said, just wanted to check in, see where you are. Overall, there is support from property management and the tenants to move forward with this. He asked questions as far as, the theme and what would exactly be the mural. And I said that all of that is to be determined. I did mention that there were some funds that had been approved by the select board to help underwrite the cost of hiring a professional mural artist. And he was, very responsive to that. So ultimately what they're looking for is the project scope in writing, basically how the whole thing is going to be run. Basically, here's our objective and here's how it's going to flow as far as, the call to artist, what the theme would be, and would also be interested in learning more as far as the approval process. He said, would we be able to, take a look at the design and have, some feedback or at least approve it before it moves forward? And I said, absolutely. It's going to be on the side of your building. You should absolutely. And I did also let him know that the select board would be reviewing it and that the design review board as well. I said, so there was lots of checks and balances, and that I would assure him that it would be something that would be very appropriate and that they would be very proud to have on the side of their building. So, so I was very encouraged by that conversation. So
Did they mention anything about like having like any artistic license or something about anything they wanted to add on it? So it sounds like they're generally open to anything, but want to have final approval.
Correct.
Okay. That's cool.
So
Cool.
that was encouraging.
That's awesome news. So there was one other update I wanted to give because I sat in on the DeFazio Tunnel project. That is a project of Needham Youth and Family Services. They're going to be doing a mural there. They have the same mural community arts leader on staff there that they had for the rail trail mural that I think everyone has sort of seen there. So that meeting was really interesting. They've opened up design ideas to students from the high school. So there was a few students at the meeting pitching ideas. One of them was actually, the lead was J.E., who actually was on our electrical box student juror. So she had, they both actually, the reason why they came onto our electrical box jury panel was that they had reached out to me saying they wanted to do a mural in town. So, on their own, JE actually got hooked up with this Needham Youth and Family Services. So it's come full circle. So they are managing that project. My impression is it's very community-based, the same kind of concepts as what they did for the rail trail, which is taking lots of different people's ideas and putting it in one piece, which has pros and cons. For me, my thought on that was that that's great. There's a mural that's going to be made by the community, for the community, with the community engaged in it. But that seems very different to me than this mural that we're working on, because this will be something that's of a high caliber professional artist, which can show what young artists can aspire to if they want to become a professional public artist is sort of what I thought. So it made me feel good to know that there's two different types of murals. So if people want to get engaged with building one in the community, that's an option for them. They're not really open to they're at the point where they're doing the design now. So if you know about it and you were engaged early, you can help, but they're not doing more engagement, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? So I think if you wanted, before the designs start in March, you could get involved, but they're not doing a huge outreach or doing a big call in the newspaper or anything. They're just reaching out to the high school and stuff. Okay, so that was that update. So this is sort of meant to be a brainstorming meeting for what the theme and the concept of the scope is. It's hard to do on Zoom, but raise your hand if you have lived in Needham more than 30 years. Okay, raise your hand if you lived in Needham more than 20 years. Keep your hand up, Joni. Let's see. Okay, raise your hand if you've lived in Needham more than 15 years. Okay, 10 years. 7 years. 5 years. 4 years. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's good to know. All right. So I was just curious because what I was thinking was that we didn't really have a location. So I was kind of saying, wondering is there a spot that you really know in Needham that needs art? And Joni sent me something earlier that's I'd love to have murals everywhere. There's so many spots. But we went through a lot of locations already in this committee, and Trader Joe's was the one that really was the top of our list. I still think it's the top of our list. We've also talked about the walkway in between the new orthodontist, kind of where the art emporium was. There's that walkway there behind CVS that is kind of an odd spot. It has some really nice concrete on the ground for painting a ground asphalt mural, but the space itself needs to be cleaned up and it's kind of awkward. So that was a spot that we talked about for a bit. I think as a public art committee, we just trying to get inspired for this meeting. Personally, I was there's so many different things that we could do. But I do feel if this Trader Joe's wall is an opportunity, then we need to use that opportunity. The Needham Heights doesn't have any art in it. This is our chance to do one really big piece on that big wall. I just want to bring up one thing that I know that we talked about a little bit, but Equal Justice Needham just had a vigil, a 2-year vigil for the incident that happened at the CVS there. And, racial injustice is a big issue in US and in Needham. And I feel that space kind of needs to be healed a little bit because it is a space where something difficult happened in our town that needs to still have conversation. And I think the vigil that happened last month clearly is saying that it's not over and it's a conversation that's still is ongoing in our town. And part of the reason why we got the funding from the town for this mural is because we talked to the town in response to the Nuari statement, the equal justice statement that the town put out. So I don't know how you all feel, but I feel strongly that I'm glad that we're doing a diversity and inclusion mural. And I think that Trader Joe's is an important spot for that to happen at. And that there's a little bit, we talked at our meeting on the 18th about not necessarily needing partners, but I sort of feel it would be important for us to check in with Nuari and Equal Justice Needham. For me, I feel if we put something up at Trader Joe's and we don't have a conversation about what's happening, that might be surprising for people to drive by and all of a sudden see something that nobody's had comment on. At the meeting, we also discussed having a few finalist ideas from the selection committee and putting it in the newspaper and having people vote on it potentially about what they would see. But I think I think if we're doing a call to artists, we need to share that sort of information a little bit somehow, so that they can be prepared to just somehow include that in the work that they're doing. Okay, I've talked enough. Go ahead, Joni.
I've thought a lot about it, and I looked over some notes that I took at that meeting. And one of the things that I noticed as I looked at thousands of murals on the internet in the past several months is that they, except for ones that were to commemorate or to memorialize, they all look at things from a very positive kind of point of view. So rather than commemoration of an event or looking at social justice, I think a more positive way to look at it as the celebration of everyone and fairness and opportunity for everyone, and include that idea rather than putting in anything that screams at someone. This is a thing for social justice, because one of the most horrific events in my 43 years living here took place right there. And we want to acknowledge that it did, but we don't want to cement it. It's hard to put into words. We don't want to cement the negativity. We want to extol the positivity of Needham as a wonderful town, and a very bad thing happened, but we're not who that is. We're better than that. We're going to be better than that. We're going to be inclusive, and we're going to celebrate all of the different things. When I moved here a very long time ago, I never saw people who didn't look exactly like me. It was very rare. And then when we had a Chinese family move across the street, we were so excited. And now they're just our friends. We share recipes. She teaches me how to garden. The kids will come over and shovel off our driveway if the plow comes by and plows us in. And it's just our normal neighbors. And now we have exploded to be a multiracial community. And I think that's so positive. And I think that we need to celebrate that and make this mural have this mural be very positive in tone.
Well, and I think that's what amazing what arts can do. And I think that's what's been missing a lot in our community, and is sort of the point of it. I've gone to a bunch of NDI meetings, and I always feel like art, like there's conversation, but then there's art that can really do something. I don't know, I feel like this is a great opportunity for us. I think we've all kind of agreed on that, but so I'm not sure if you guys want to look at some murals to inspire us, or if we want to just have people split up into doing some of the work, because we need people to we need help a small group of people to go through artists. I started doing it today. I spent about like 5 hours going through this mural artist list, and I now have 120 artists on it. We didn't really at our last meeting talk about eligibility. We talked about having an artist of color, and I don't know if we all agreed on that. I don't know if we talked about the artist having to be from Massachusetts or New England or the United States. And that is something I think is important for us to kind of choose or focus on. Go ahead, Joni.
Charlie, when we started, we had talked about diversity, and we had talked about trying to choose a local artist. So the Google Doc that you started, did you put everything up on the Google Doc?
Yeah.
Okay, because I started with very local ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are 7 up there to start with. Because they were, very, very local. Boston, North Shore, South Shore.
Well, I sent you guys that video. I don't know if that was
Yeah.
inspiring to you, but there's Springfield, that was Lynn, but Springfield does something called no, Worcester is called the Powwow Festival, and Springfield has Fresh Paint. And all three of them are just like these mural festivals where they have amazing artists from all over the United States and the world come and do murals all at the same time, which seems like insane to me. But the quality of the work is incredible. And a lot of the most successful pieces, I feel like, are the representational ones with people's faces in them often. In terms of equity and inclusion, you see people in them. And
You know what their budget is?
no, I don't. I'm sure that's insane. Because they and the one in Lynn, did you see in the video, they all had to have the cherry picker training,
Yeah.
the lift training. That was
Yeah.
pretty incredible. And they opened it with a guy going, "Oh, we're on the other side of the festival," as if like he just aged 10 years in the last year or something. It sounded like a lot of work.
I'd
But,
love to call them and find out what their budget is and see how they do this.
yeah, I mean, I think some of this is some of the work this committee
Mhm.
needs to do. We also obviously need to write a scope, which Joni, some of your call can go towards that. So we said an artist of color, and we said an artist who's local, as Massachusetts local, or can it be New England? What do you think, Heather?
Oh,
Are you on?
I thought we were opening it up to neighboring states.
State?
'Cause-
I-
Yeah,
I
or New England, but like, I
think
mean,
if-
Rhode Island's not that far away. But I mean, it
mean,
would be nice. It would be nice to have it be a Massachusetts person, but I think it would be nice to open it up a little bit more too. Like, just because you
I
might
think
find
the
somebody that's a
quality
better
goes
fit.
up the lot bigger the range you give, but I wouldn't want
Yeah.
to do anything more than New England personally, but
Yeah,
um,
because then then we'll be doing a lot of footwork. Just
And then we drive up expenses too to have them, to import them.
yeah, the other thing is you can kind of like, so what if someone went to college in Massachusetts and then doesn't live in Massachusetts anymore? So when I ran an event, we said you were related to the town somehow, like you were connected somehow to the town, which people can come up with their stories, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to live in Massachusetts or.
I mean, it's kind of nice to have somebody that is more local, just so they
Local,
have a
yeah.
sense of the community and what,
Yeah, I mean, to
I have a
me,
little bit
I
more
agree.
feel for it, but
I was just gonna
so,
say, like,
I
if
mean,
you're
that's the
local-
plus side. It doesn't have to be, but I mean, that's something to think about.
Yeah, Bala, you think local too?
Yeah, I was thinking if it's local would be great, but also not just, limiting to one artist. If we can find artists who have similar interests, like if we have a theme and then, we see their work and they have similar ideas, we could do like a group of artists locally who may not be that expensive, if they're dividing the work. I don't know. I don't know the price range, but something to look into, right?
By
And then
the
also
way,
we're calling local community to help volunteer, right? So
RISD is in Rhode Island, which is basically a hub of artists. I think.
RISD, you mean?
Yeah, RISD.
RISD? Yeah, okay,
Yeah, RISD, yeah.
okay.
So they have a lot of talents in terms of artists. I definitely should give them some space, say that they will be interested. to
Okay,
put
then
in some-
I think I'm hearing people say New England residents is fine.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I think it's a good region. I think for the quality of the work that we're looking for, I think that the broader the range is better. And then in terms of saying that the person is a person of color, that is I've heard is not necessarily the right way to say it anymore. And sometimes it's better to be specific. And sometimes it's self-identifying, and I don't know how to I don't know how to write that or what
Aren't we
words
more
they're looking
interested
for.
in the art that they produce than, I mean, I'd hate to knock any wonderful mural artists out of the running for any reason whatsoever. Disabled artists. I mean, one of the finest cartoon artists who's now working full-time was a student of mine who's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I
And-
mean, there's definitely two schools of thought. I mean, you want to put your money where your mouth is, and you're employing an artist who is diverse and inclusive. So maybe we can say it but then.
Maybe we don't say it in writing per se when we call them, but then when we are going through the selection criteria, we give preference to the artists who are of color or other criteria. I don't know, that could be an option.
Yeah, maybe there's a way for us to do, if we are just when we are selecting the artists that we're inviting to apply, I don't know, we can do it through that selection, because we're not actually doing an open general call, but I don't know how we select that. I mean, I think if there is an artist who is a Caucasian artist from Needham who says, I wanted to apply for this, how come I didn't get asked? We have to have a good reason for that, or not have a reason for it. So yeah, the eligibility is kind of tricky.
I think it's good. That's a good point, and I think it's probably good to have a statement written out, phrased well. So if we are asked, if somebody's asked, you can be really clear about the decision process. Just like when we do a grant.
I'm still for looking at the art and seeing, you know, the art that's the best fit as opposed to the artist who did it. I'm not convinced that deciding before we've seen anything on the table is appropriate. It may be, you know, that it's a conglomerate, a group of artists that present the best piece, or it may be a Caucasian, or it may be, you know, a foreign born person. We have no idea of knowing what we're going to get.
That would be true if we were doing a call, but we're not doing a call. We're actually going to select the artists that we send the call to, right? So we have to be clear on how we're selecting them and why.
Right.
Yeah.
So can we revisit that?
Yeah,
thought?
I think we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to just write the scope, maybe do a little bit more research on how other ones have been written, and
No, I
review it
mean,
together.
the idea that we're only asking select people to apply, that just does not sit right with me. I think we can certainly encourage certain artists and send targeted emails, but we do not have an exhaustive list. There's no way to have an exhaustive list and know who is out there. And just going on record saying, I don't think it's right to pick and choose who we ask to apply for a public art project that is funded by the town.
Yeah, I think I agree with that too. I feel
I
like
hear
it-
your point. I mean, it's a type of call in the public art world. It's called an invitational.
I'm sure it exists. I still think it's right to open it up.
Open it up.
Sorry, Mala, what were you going to say?
No, same thing. I was just going to say we can open it up to see. Like you said, we don't have the exhaustive list, and because we're talking about diversity and inclusion, especially specifically here being the theme, I understand that we can do the specific select call for other projects, but for this theme, it just seems right that, you know, just to show that we are inclusive, we open it up to everybody, and then based on the type of art that we like and we think would match our interests and for the town, we would then make our selection from there on. So I agree that it should be open.
Okay, that's gonna make the call, it has to be a lot more specific. So we'll have to work on that aspect of it. Those kinds of calls will be like 3 or 4 pages of very specific who can apply, who can't apply. And That will take a lot more management, I feel like. But anybody else want to comment on that? I heard from Sharon, Dennis, and Bala on that one, and Joni or.
When I first started this, I read a couple of these proposals, and everyone that I read asked for proposals. It was an RFP, and one town in California, look, I'm thinking Laguna Beach, that comes to mind, but I could be wrong.
No,
I don't remember.
that.
I read so many.
Yeah.
They only got something like between 25 and 35 responses, and they went the entire state of California and whatever. And so I don't think we're going to be inundated with hundreds of responses to this.
No, I just think that it lowers the quality of the responses greatly because you're opening a general call. So you're getting a different type of artists.
Why would it lower it if you're still sending the RFP to the people on your list? Wouldn't it
Because
just supplement it?
professional muralists don't respond to general RFP calls as highly as they would to an invitational. Because there's more competition and it just shows that it's not worth their time in general, but.
Then that's something that we should research. If you know that to be a fact, then we definitely should look at it. I can go back on the, because I kept a list of the websites I went to for these. There was one that said this is an invitational call for whatever. And that was actually where I got some of the stuff that I sent you in that letter. And I'll look and see what that one was.
Okay.
It's
Put mine on our
complicated.
Google Drive. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we're going to do the art, if the artist has to be a person of color, then it will definitely slim the number of applications down.
I think we need to be very careful about limiting anything that way. I think that that might be a violation of some kind of thing because it's a public art. You've got to be really careful. There are legalities involved in that kind of thing.
That's true.
Actually, in some of the, I think
that
in
could
some of
also
the
apply as
public
discrimination
process.
against-
Wait, hold on. Two people are talking about once. Go ahead, Dennis, you go first and then you go back.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So I think in some of in this type of public registration or call for RFP, there's a no discrimination statement up front, which is maybe make sure that this is not any the decision making process that has nothing to do with discrimination, any perspective related. So I mean, specific any color of that could get us into some suspicion, like doubts and questions into that regards. So I think probably we should have put up a non-discrimination statement up front. Regarding the general versus the invitational, I'm not an expert of this type of RFP, but I think I don't know if we can do actually both track, like do a general overall, but we do reach out to the mural pros and to see if they have specific ideas, like invite them to this mural, and to see if they have a better way of doing it in a more professional way. I think is that something we can consider, but I don't know.
Yeah, my background is in public arts administration. I worked for a city for many years doing this, so I have a little bit of experience in that, but I definitely do think you're right. I understand if you guys want to do a general call, we could try that. If we don't find anything we like, then if we don't have applications we don't like, then we just don't do it, I guess. So it's more work. It will change the quality, I think, of the work. But we're not a major city. We're not doing a multi-festival mural. We're not getting global artists. It's a
When you
small.
say
Yeah.
change the quality, like I understand there's more work to prepare for it, but what do you mean by change the quality? Like aren't we
Professional
still-
artists don't submit proposals.
Right, what you mentioned earlier, yeah.
Yeah, basically, because you're asking them to work for free. And if they have lots of places, a lot of the mural artists that we have on our lists probably have wait lists for people who, for work. So there's not a ton of, there's not a huge amount of professional mural artists in that that have works under their belt that would apply.
Do you think, so that's from you're speaking from your experience from working?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done a lot of mural projects, but public art in general.
Yeah.
Mural is a little different, and there are a lot of, obviously there's enough muralists that come to do the Lynn Festival and the Worcester Festival. I think they flew in a lot of them, but
Wow.
I think it just changes a bunch. Oh,
And did they do an invitational for the Lynn one? Is that an invitation?
I don't know exactly how they do it.
Maybe we should find out too.
Yeah.
to
Yeah, I
see.
said that.
Yeah, I don't.
So- Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think they must have like an application and they have people apply. I think the one in Springfield was like that. You just apply with your body of work and they choose them.
I'm happy to call
Definitely
Lynn
going
and
through that
find the
list.
people.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
definitely going through that list. I found a lot of people, like a lot of repeat works. So some of the works you've seen around is the same artist doing, like that big Black Lives Matters artwork that was on the ground, is also the same artist who did like the Roxbury Love with Nelson Mandela piece that got torn down recently. It's just interesting to see what work they're doing.
Charlie,
Yeah.
just one thought. I can check with town council to see if whether or not there are any limitations as far as narrowing the field of artists down, because this is a public art project being used, public funds being used to underwrite the cost. Let me just float it by town council to see if whether or not we can have restrictions like that. That may actually answer that question. And
Okay.
so let me get an answer on that as soon as
That'd
I
be
can.
good to know. I'm sure the town has a policy for spending more than $5,000 on something too. You have to have I don't know if we have to do those bids like, but. Okay, that'd be helpful. I know it's hard. You want to open it up to everyone, but I also wonder, if we're going to do more than one mural, if we do this as a series, and then we have 3 artists who are, one doing the big signature piece at Trader Joe's, and then another doing a smaller piece, either like on Highland Ave or some sort of scavenger hunty. Like there's a lot of different ways we could do it. If it was, yeah. Anyways, I wanted to show you guys some murals, but maybe we don't need to. Do you want to see some? We don't need to do that. We could just move on to making some leads where we do work together.
I think everybody should go to the Google Drive.
Yep.
And check out all the stuff that's up there and get a feeling for what they like and what speaks to them.
Yeah, no one's added, besides you and me, no one's actually added any artists. So is anybody interested in going through and looking at artists? Because no matter if we do a big call or not, we're going to have to still have a list of artists that we send it out to. I do think it is hard to find mural artists sometimes. I've seen other calls that have been like, please share this. We don't have a lot of entries, like you said, Joni.
We can all go to the Google Drive. I also just made a folder with RFP examples, just to get us started if we need to do one.
Yeah, I have 2 mural documents in there too with other information too.
Yep.
I also thought maybe if we look at how we want to publicize this or what our goals are, if we agree on like the top 3 goals for this project, then maybe that would help us a little bit too. And I know we've already talked about paying an artist. A professional artist was one of them, to promoting diversity and inclusion. And then there was 3 sort of like, easier ones, or what are they? More is that we want to add color to the town, we want to make it fun and vibrant, or we want it to stimulate dialogue, or some other like connecting areas throughout the town. That was sort of an idea. Anybody else have any other goals for it? That for me, I wanted to say, like, because we've had community murals and we're going to have a bunch of community murals done by students. This was definitely, to me, an opportunity to have a see what professional, modernish looking public art looks like in town. That was kind of one of mine. Corinne, I see you nodding your head and I haven't heard from you. You want to add anything?
No, I definitely think we should go with the professional route. I would say I would want to see something uplifting and positive, no matter the message. I think people are more open to receive if it's a positive message. And just wondering if we could do like a hybrid model of like put out a call, but also have a list of people that we want to reach out to specifically to make sure they're included in what we look at.
Yeah,
like I've never done this, so I don't know like how many responses we could anticipate. Like if it's thousands, that would obviously be too much for us to handle. But if it's only 20 or so, we could probably get through them pretty fast and have a smaller pool for a larger committee to look at.
yeah. Sharon, do you have any idea how many we did for how many we had for the electrical art box? I forget, like 30. Was it like 30, 25, 30 applications?
The, let's see, are they in the?
Yeah, they're probably in there.
thing?
Amy, can I share my screen too? I forgot I wanted to show one thing to everybody, which would totally change this whole conversation, I feel like, a little bit.
17? Looks like.
Was there 17?
Not
Oh,
17. But that was, I think that's a different, you know,
that was for the first one.
that was the, where is this?
Oh, so I've been obsessed with WPA murals because that was federal funding. Because to me, the whole thing is that we're getting ARPA funds. And, you know, during the Great Depression, they made 100,000 murals in those few years. And that was just to get artists working. And I find that so inspiring. So I've been looking at a bunch of those. But I was going to show you, this is the mural I was talking about. This looks like a regular mural, but it is a piece of vinyl. And so I mentioned at the meeting that it looks like a mural, it lasts longer. It's what the Revitalization Trust Fund is going to be doing in Walgreens. They're more expensive based on their size, but you can take any piece of art. They don't have to be a muralist, really. So anybody's artwork can be turned into a piece of vinyl and put on the wall, really. So it's something to think about if you're going to be doing.
They require some modifications to the existing walls in order to stay up there. You see the tracking that
Yes.
they have on both?
Yeah, this one does, and each one was different, but you can also do it like a sticker. Like Amy did a bunch of stickers for the hand washing and the COVID signs, right? And I think you can do those.
Will they
pretty
stay
easily.
on? Will they stay on brick?
Were they? Yeah, they were on brick. Were they? How long do they last, Amy? Are they easy to take off or?
Yeah, they were very easy to take off. They lasted several weeks. I don't know about months or years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the one that they're doing for the Walgreens wall, it's huge, and it's $20,000 to $30,000 just for that one. I don't know, I feel like when someone sees the Trader Joe's wall, the brick is so awesome, they might not want a square shape either. So I don't think they can do vinyl if it's not square. Like see the shapes on these, those are pretty
Right.
awesome on the brick walls.
We need to look at something also that's kind of timeless, that in 2 years, people aren't gonna say, you know, ugh. It's the kind of thing that you want people to walk by and smile, and, you know, whether it's 1 year down the road or 5 years down the road.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that's. All right, that's
So,
all I wanted. That's
yeah.
all I wanted to share. Okay, who would like to join the group that's going to work on finding and artists for our list? And then who wants to be on like the scope committee that's going to write the scope in the RFP? Okay, so raise your hand. So I feel like maybe you could do both if you wanted, but if you're more into like looking through websites and finding cool artists. Okay, all right, Bala and Kareen.
I
And
mean,
Heather.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to help with both, but
So the mural artist list is there, and I started a
Yeah,
bunch
I
of
looked
them.
at that. Yeah. I
Yeah,
saw
and then that document that I was just looking at is called Mural Process. There's this awesome Boston Globe article that was like the last the 12 best murals gone up in 2020, and that had some really interesting ones.
Where's the file you just had?
Yeah, that's the one I was just, that's it's in the drive. It's called Mural Process 118 or something.
Is it in the public art folder?
No, it's just on the drive. I don't
Oh,
think I put it in the
I didn't even
folder.
see it.
Just, oh, okay. Maybe I'll put it in the folder. It was it's the arts in the Gmail drive for the Needham Arts and Culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, do 118. If not, I'll put it in and share it with everyone.
I don't see it there. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And then, so that was Corrine and Heather and Bala. And
Yeah, and
then
I'll continue looking also.
Okay, yeah, Sharon, Dennis, if you're interested in joining either of those, Joni, you and I can just start working on so I think it's 2 different documents. We're gonna need an RFP.
Yeah. And then
and
an invitational.
Yeah, and then we're gonna need a scope of work that talks, maybe it's the same thing. It's probably just the same
Well,
thing.
you need to create the scope of work before you do either of those, because both of those will include the scope.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of parts of the same thing, and
Yeah.
we'll just work on one mega document, and then,
Yeah.
because we're gonna need one for the Trader Joe's. Is it Makosi Management? Is that the name of it? The contact that you talked to? You didn't talk to Nino Makosi, did you? The
No.
owner? Because I
No.
was doing some research on that one. He owns all the Delaria salons and about a bazillion apartments, and he manages, that's the company that manages that space. Okay, so you've got the contact there, so we'll come up with something to send them.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I'll work on that with you, Charlie.
Okay. All right, I think
I
that's
can-
enough for tonight. I think we came up with more questions than answers, but we did so good at the last meeting on the 18th that I thought we were like ahead of the game. No matter what, this is so exciting. We're gonna have a space. I think that changes everything.
Yeah.
And I think we all agree on the main goals of what we want to do here. If anybody's dying to get involved in the DeFazio mural, that next meeting is in March, where they're going to pitch some ideas there, but it really seems student-led, and I love that about it. So I think they're in good hands.
great.
And then they're going to open it up and have the whole community out to paint. So we'll definitely share that when people come out and do the painting.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think all the groups should get involved with that.
Sure. Yeah.
Someone at the meeting was, I keep forgetting the name. Remember the community center of Needham? Our former chair, Kristen, is on it. Ellen Dudley is the chair. And so she was at the meeting, and they have a group of people that want to get involved in it, that are involved in it too. So there's a big chunk of the community, I think, is going to come out for that. So that's cool.
Amy, thank you again for all of your persistence. It's
Tenacity.
really appreciated.
I wasn't gonna take no for an answer or just
That was,
not have
that was
them
amazing. And we didn't even have to
well,
stick
so-
Joni on him. We're so lucky. That would have been dangerous.
Gee, thanks. The pit
Thanks,
bull of the
Karen.
arts committee, huh?
Of any committee, really, Joni. You're a force to be reckoned with.
Oh my God, no one's ever said that before. Don't say that to my kids. They'll laugh you out of town.
All right, does anybody else want to share anything or, got any more comments? We good here? All right, so I don't know if I think we just do small committee work. I think our next big group meeting is March and we can talk about this again there. And hopefully we'll have some more answers rather than questions, but this is awesome, you guys. I'm so excited.
So much,
Yay.
everyone.
All right,
Great work.
take care. Happy New Year, Amy.
Fun.
Everybody.
Thank
Thank you.
Happy Lunar New
Bye.
Happy New
Year.
Year.
Yeah.
Happy,
Bye.
happy
Bye.
New Year. Bye.